As long as Russia is flagrantly violating international law and the order that the G7 has helped to build since the end of the Cold War, there's no need for the G7 to engage with Russia.
Maxim Stolarevsky is with me from the Canadian-Ukrainian Congress. Welcome.
Thank you.
I just learned this. The head of your organization is Paul Grod?
Yes,
apparently
absolutely.
He's been travel banned. He can't go to Russia.
Fantastic, yeah, that's a good news.
A good thing?
And a true badge of honor for him. You know, I truly think that Paul was very effective in showing, you know, the nature of the aggression, what's going on in Eastern Europe and the whole Russian intervention into Ukraine. And that probably is the reason why he found himself on the list of the banned people, together with many other politicians.
All right, from a political standpoint then,
right.
You're saying this is fantastic. I hope it doesn't mean he can't visit people he'd like to see.
No, absolutely. You know, fantastic meaning is just, it's a token, I guess, of appreciation from the Russian part for whatever he's doing for Ukraine. So that's the only thing. Definitely, of course, it's horrible. You know, I understand that those sort of limitations are never good news. So that's for sure.
Yeah, you see it as he must be doing something right.
Absolutely, that's exactly perception.
All right. Now, did Canada do something right? Has the G8 done something right by cutting itself down to the G7?
You know what, actually, I think, yes, they did. It's very important to show a direct message that, you know, certain actions that are falling outside of the norm of democratic countries, you know, will be perceived as such and will be communicated in that way. So definitely the fact that the biggest democracies of the world are getting together and showing their stance on that fact is crucial. It's a crucial indication of support, and I think it's very important for people of Ukraine as well as the people who live in those G7 countries, for sure.
People that we've had on the show who are on with us live from Ukraine say that those things which may look symbolic to a lot of people matter to people in Ukraine.
Absolutely. Absolutely they are. Sometimes, you know, when you're against a big enemy, well, not the enemy, but the big country as Russia is, it is easy to...
They're not an enemy? I think they are an enemy.
Well, in this case, I would not say that the Russian people are enemies. No, definitely they are not. It's just the leadership, the guys who make, you know, decisions in Kremlin. Yes, at this point in time, they can be perceived as such. However, the nation of the Russian people is definitely, you know, a close ally and a friend of Ukrainians. At least that's, you know, definitely how people perceive them. Right.
It's part of what makes this tragic is that realistically these are people that even as separate countries should feel very close to one another.
I can imagine. And you know what? Actually, a lot of people in Russia and even in Moscow, which can be considered as the dominion of the Kremlin, feel supportive of Ukraine. There were numerous manifestations. There were 50,000 people in the streets of Moscow supporting Ukraine and hoping that Russia will stop the invasion in Crimea. So that happened for sure.
Yes, we're going to talk about this more later, but I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently there are Ukrainian women or Russian women who are saying this is not right, and they're telling Russian men they can't have any sex until this gets fixed.
Well, that's definitely one of the vehicles of influence, for sure. I can imagine that being a strong motivation.
A vehicle of influence, thanks for the term. So I heard this morning that actually these economic sanctions that have been placed on Russia are starting to have impact. It's costing them a lot of money.
Right. Absolutely. Russia is the integrated economy. Definitely, they depend on a lot of Western vehicles, a lot of Western financial institutions. They are one of the biggest exporters of oil and natural gas. So whenever, you know, starts to hit them economically, will have a very, very strong impact. So definitely, economic sanctions are critical, and they're very, very successful. So I just hope to see more of them.
Well, sometimes leaders don't care, but I'm talking about maybe more radical leaders than the current leader, Putin, because you'll have countries where everyone is just impoverished and dying, and you have some dictator at the top who doesn't care. I don't think Putin's quite that bad.
You know what?
Or is he?
I think he's pretty bad. The problem is, or you know, the benefit and the irony of the situation is that I believe that his power is actually based on a clan of oligarchs.
Yes.
And all those oligarch guys, they do have vested interests in the United States, in Europe, and all over the world. So whenever that starts to hit them, and it will, their kids will all go to Harvard or Yale or Cambridge or Oxford. So whenever they can't, you know, make payments for those type of educational facilities or enjoy their life at the somewhere Côte d'Azur in France, they will start to send message to, you know, Mr. Putin, maybe it's time to reconsider your foreign policy, and this is something we hope for. How much power do those oligarchs have? I think it's crucial. I think those are the group of people who ran Russia as the country. It's maybe the 20-25 richest people who actually do make decisions in this country. So their voices and their opinions will not be lost, and Kremlin will definitely hear them.
That said, would you be shocked if some of those troops along the Ukrainian border move into Ukraine, into eastern Ukraine?
Yes, I will be shocked. I hope that it will not happen. I hope that Russia is playing a little bit of a hardball, using the fear tactics to make the Western world sort of understand and make peace with the Crimean annexation. So I hope that will never happen. However, Russians were famous for surprising people. So, you know, with a little bit of a caution, I hope that the massive attack will still not happen, and the truth and the wisdom and the patience will prevail.
All right. Well, I hope you're right. And thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you for inviting me.